Let's see if I can get through a whole episode without my dogs barking. Hey, welcome to This Week in Flips, my weekly show where I talk about the ups and downs and in-betweens of reselling on eBay. Today we're going to walk through a couple interesting things I found this week, talk through a couple bad buys that I made, and walk through some customer issues. I'll also be talking through my top 10 sales of the week like I do every week. First things first though, garage sales are back, and I went to my first ones over this past weekend. So I ended up finding this big bucket of remote control cars for $20. A lot of this stuff has already sold, and you're going to see a few of them show up in the top 10 sales later on in this video. Also, interestingly, at the bottom of the bucket was this old pool toy. I was actually going to throw it away, and I looked at it and thought, maybe this has some value. So I looked it up on eBay. It turns out it's worth about $20. So I listed it, and it sold about 18 hours later. It actually sold to one of my viewers. So Nathan, thanks for the order. At that same garage sale that I got the big bucket of RC cars, I also got this Herman Miller office chair for $5. Now, this office chair is not going to be resold. I'm going to save this for myself. I've been looking for a new office chair, and I can't believe that I was able to find a Herman Miller Aeron chair for $5 at a garage sale. That just shows you how awesome garage sales can be. It's my single most favorite way of sourcing new inventory. Not every garage sale is priced really well. Some people like to price up things and pretend that they're a retail store, but a lot of garage sales people are looking to just get rid of stuff, and they wanted to get rid of this Aeron Herman Miller chair, and they only wanted $5 for it. It's totally incredible. I also picked up this week this Sony Pressman handheld voice recorder. So these things can be very good. Just voice recorders in general, they record on a small tape, usually worth a good amount of money, and you very rarely get charged very much at thrift stores or at estate sales or garage sales. This one I found at a thrift store. I paid, what did I pay for it? $5 at a Goodwill. I've got it listed for $199.99. I actually priced it a little bit low to try to get it out the door quickly. These had some comps in the low $200 range. So very exciting to find one of these new in the packaging, and that's why this one is so valuable. If it was not new in the packaging and just in used working order, it probably would have been worth about $30 to $50. Still a good buy at that $5 price point, but to find it new and in the package is just incredible, and this one should sell no problem at this $200 range. So keep an eye out for voice recorders. I end up selling them a lot to law offices because I guess they don't want to use digital recording devices. They want to have it recorded on physical media, and so they use these older voice recorders, a lot of which they probably just aren't made anymore in this way. They're probably all digital now, so they look for these older ones. I did end up making a couple of bad buys, and that's the thing. People ask me, do you ever go to a thrift store and buy something that you regret? Absolutely, all the time. I would say not every thrift store trip I make, but at least one thrift store trip per week or garage sale or wherever I end up going outsourcing. I end up bringing something home that I probably shouldn't have bought in the first place, whether that's because I thought it had value and it didn't have value, or I brought it home and it wasn't in the condition that I thought it was going to be in, or it was broken, all sorts of reasons. But it happens very regularly, and if any reseller is telling you that they never make bad buy mistakes like that, they're lying for sure. So this is one example here. This is Nike Elite quarter zip jacket. Nike in general, you just find millions of Nike things at thrift stores, and the vast majority of them are not worthwhile. This one had this weird Elite logo on it. I was not familiar with the logo. I'll show you a little close, like this logo right here. I'd never seen that before. I'm still honestly not exactly sure what the logo is, but I did some comp research while I was at the store very quickly, and I saw that these Nike Elite jackets were selling for like $40 or $50. What I didn't do is look as closely as I should, because that was some specific other Elite brand, not this one. And so this one, I only listed it for $16.99 plus shipping. I paid $8.40 on it, and honestly, I'll be surprised if this thing sells. So everything eventually sells, but this one's definitely going to take a long time, and hopefully I get my money back on it. And in fact, just this past weekend, I went through all of my death pile and just went through and found stuff that was not going to be worth listing, whether it was because it didn't have as much value as I thought, or it was not in working condition, or there was a button missing, or all sorts of things. I just went through and cleared a bunch of stuff out. This stuff is all getting redonated back to the thrift store. Just goes to show you that plenty of times that I go outsourcing and buy stuff that does not end up being worth it, and I waste money on it. I also had another interesting scenario with a buyer who bought a pair of boots from me. Y'all might remember these Justin boots that were sold a couple of weeks ago on the show. They were one of my top 10 sales. Well, the buyer got these and they wore them, and then they sent me a message saying that they only lasted one day. I'll show you here. So let's take a look at these pictures showing the boots where he said the soles came apart right there. It definitely looks like my boots, the ones I sold him, definitely looks like the soles soles are coming apart. When I sold them, they were brand new and had never been worn before. The guy messaged me and said like, hey, like, you know, these fell apart in one day. What can you do about it? And I said, wow, that sucks. These things were new. They sure don't make them like they used to. And, you know, obviously this guy wants to return them, and I have, you know, free returns and is welcome to return it. And I told him as much, but I also stated the policy that eBay provides me as a seller who offers free returns, which is if you sell something in new condition and it gets returned to you in a condition that is not new, you don't have to give a full refund. You can give up to 50% of a refund back to retain some of the costs associated with having free returns. And to be honest, like I feel a little bit like a jerk doing that. But these are not my boots. These are Justin boots. Well, that makes it even more confusing because my name's Justin, but you get what I mean. They manufactured the boots. I didn't manufacture them. I sold them. I also have no idea what he put these shoes through. He could have been treating these shoes very poorly and then they fell apart, and you know, I don't know. He hasn't opened a return yet, so I still don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but let me know what you would do in the comments below. Would you accept the return and give a full refund? Would you accept the return and only give 50% refund like eBay allows you to do if you offer free returns? How would you handle this? Let me know. All right, let's jump into my sales for the week. Looks like I sold $1,832 in gross income, and I had just over $1,000 in net income. So again, 4-digit net income for the week. I always like to see that. $1,019 net in total. My ROI was 857% for the week and a net profit margin of 52%. Looks like I had 47 new listings and 40 sales. So things are definitely ramping up on eBay pretty good. My average time to sell was 2 months. Typically my average time to sell is 3 months. And so this means I'm selling a lot of newer inventory, which makes sense because you'll see what I have on my top 10 list. It's all stuff that's relatively new. And it looks like I spent a total of $256 on new inventory for the week. Coming in at number 10 is this vintage lava light. This is a midnight blue lava lamp. This is a true vintage lava lamp. Unfortunately, it was not in good working condition. The lava on the inside had hardened from not being used for decades probably. And so I left it on overnight. I even hit it with a heat gun to see if I could heat it up enough to loosen it. But unfortunately, it was kind of staying congealed in one big blob and not acting as a lava lamp should. Disclose that, you know, you can see in the title here, parts only, wax won't melt. It still went for $45.98. I got it at an estate sale for $8, and my net return for the 10th best flip was $25.12. If this would have been in good working order, it would have gotten about $100 to $125. So lava lamps are really good things to look out for. And you just want to make sure that they are true vintage lava lamps. And the way you can tell is by taking off this top cap, this black part right here. Underneath that will be a bottle cap on top of the glass, and that bottle cap has some stamps on it. And the stamp, the first 2 numbers on the top line of that stamp is going to be the year that it was manufactured. So in this case, it was 1996. So look for that stamp on top of it. If you've got a vintage one, definitely pick it up. It's going to be worth it even if it's not in working order. All right, coming in at number 9 is this Bonavita 8-cup coffee maker. So I bought this. Again, I like buying coffee makers like this as long as the brand is good, because even if the coffee maker is not in good working order, you can part this thing out and often make more money on the combined parts than you would if you were to sell the whole unit as one. In this case, everything was working well, and I knew it would sell quick as a full unit, so I went ahead and sold it that way, and it did in 2 days. Sold for $50.98 with a net return of $25.31. That's an ROI of 395%. I paid $6.40, and that's the 9th best flip of the week. Coming in at number 8 is this Briso square shower drain. So I picked this up at a weird garage sale that I talked about last week that was at a home decor store, and there's a lot of weird stuff there, but I ended up buying this. I spent $10 on it. It sold for $49.99 plus $6.99 in shipping. Had a net return of $33.97 and an ROI of 340%. Only took 6 days to sell. Pretty quickly. I had never heard of this brand Briso. I assume it's like Kohler, maybe a higher end Kohler, but it sold pretty quickly. The comps are really good on it. I picked up a couple other pieces with this Briso brand. Definitely keep an eye out for it though. I had never heard of it before, but I'll definitely pick it up if I see it again. Coming in at number 7 are these vintage lawn chairs. So these are like those webbed lawn chairs. These have the wooden armrests on it. Those wooden armrests definitely make the value higher. These are in really good condition. Often these vintage chairs get rusted, or the webbing breaks, or the armrest cracks, things like that, but these were in excellent shape. I've had them for a while. I bought them over the summer. It looks like it took 5 months to sell. I paid $15 at a garage sale and listed them for $149.98. That was the sale price. That's $134.99 plus $14.99 in shipping. I really made a mistake on this though. I probably should have only sold them locally. I ended up selling them obviously on eBay here, and the cost to ship was high. It was higher than I was expecting because I ended up having to ship them all the way to California. $76.26 to ship those things, which made my net return on that $149 sale only $40.21. That's a 27% net profit margin. I really should have just listed these for like $100 on Facebook Marketplace. I have no doubt that they would have sold, and I wouldn't have had to ship them, and I would have made more money. So lesson learned. Coming in at number 6 is this Sony CyberShot digital camera. This was a weird digital camera. This thing on the front just kind of clicked up and down on that. It was at an estate sale only for $2, and I was surprised at the comps on this. So we did not have the charger. It only had the battery, and it also had one of Sony's proprietary SD cards, but it sold for $56.98. Only took 5 days to sell. My net return on it was $43.20. That's over a 2,000% ROI, a 76% net profit margin. Sold very quickly though. These digital cameras, not all of them are good. In fact, majority of them are not good, but even this one was pretty old. I don't know what made this one as valuable as it was. I think this was at least a decade old, if not longer. For some reason, it just had the value and it sold very quickly for the 7th best flip of the week. No, that was the 6th best flip of the week. I can never remember the numbers. Coming in at number 5 are these Nike Tiger Woods golf shoes. I got these at St. Vincent de Paul, and I remember when I picked these up, I very rarely browse the shoe section at this thrift store because I never find stuff there, but I decided to go over there and just do a quick browse. Made me think I should probably make it a habit of going back to the shoes because I did find these. What caught my eye was the Tiger Woods logo. That's the logo right there. That was on the back of the shoe. You can't really see it there, but keep an eye over that logo because Tiger Woods stuff does very well. For these, I paid $7. They sold for $69.99. My net return was $47.53. That's a 679% ROI for the 5th best flip of the week. And golf season is just starting to kick off, so it makes sense that these sold right now. Coming in at number 4 are these Salomon aggressive inline skates. And so I got these at a Goodwill. They were only $10, which is why I bought them. I know Salomon, the brand, I didn't even know that they made inline skates when I bought these, but I know Salomon is a high quality brand, and the fact that they were only priced at $10, I figured, well, why not? I couldn't find any comps on this exact ST8 model, but the comps for other models were in the $100 to $200 range. I ended up listing these for $79.99 plus $14.99 in shipping. They were an older pair. They were not in super great shape, but they sold in a day, and that made me think I probably underpriced them. And so, but I still got a net return of $58.26. That's an ROI of 583%. And they're heavy. They're big. It looks like it cost $15.86 to ship, so that wasn't too bad. But so yeah, that was the 4th best flip of the week, are these inline skates. Coming in at number 3 is this Traxxas RC car from that bucket of stuff that I bought at a garage sale. This is just one of those pieces in there, and I had over 15 pieces that I listed from that one single bucket. This sold for $99.98. Only took an hour. Again, I think I underpriced this a little bit. I need to be more aggressive with my pricing, it sounds like. $62.14 was the net return on that. Over a 3,000% ROI. That's because the cost of goods on this was only $2. Again, I paid $20 for the entire bucket, and that bucket had at least 10 to 15 separate listings. And so I just broke down the cost evenly across everything within that bucket. Really good pickup, that bucket of RC car stuff from that garage sale. And super excited to have garage sales back because you just can't find stuff like this in pretty much any other environment other than garage sales, especially at this cost. So I'm going to make some good money on that bucket. All right, coming in at number 2 is this Pizzelle cookie maker. So this is from the 90s. You open this thing up. It's almost like a waffle maker, but you're making this particular style of Italian cookies. The value on these things just absolutely shocks me. We've sold these before in the past. My wife picked this up for $6 at a St. Vincent de Paul. It sold in one day for $114.98 for the 2nd best flip of the week. The net return on that's $85.29. The ROI is 1,422%. My wife threatened to kill me if I talked about this one on the show because she wants this to be her little secret, these Pizzelle makers, but I can't do that. I can't do that to y'all. So just know what I'm risking in sharing this information with y'all. So yeah, that was the 2nd best flip of the week. And a lot of people are walking right by these. A lot of resellers are walking right by these, not knowing the value that they have. So don't be one of those resellers. Know the value of this, even if my wife's going to get mad that I'm sharing it with you. There's plenty of Pizzelle makers out there for everyone. So go out and find one and go out and resell one. All right, coming in at number 1, my flip of the week is this Sony under the cabinet radio and CD player. You mount this thing up underneath a kitchen cabinet. This sold for $164.98. My net return was $113.22. 22 cents, 566% ROI. And this thing was at a thrift store near the end of the day, so lots of people are walking by this and just never picked it up, didn't buy it. It was in an obvious spot. It wasn't hidden anywhere. I think because of the price. The price was $25, but I had a coupon, so I got it for $20 total. I think people just underestimate the value of this thing, and it's kind of big and annoying to ship. Shipping cost $18.10, not horrible. It sold in 4 hours for $164.98, and it was brand new. It had never been used. It was an open box. Just a really great find, and lots of people are walking right by this not knowing it has the value. Again, I've talked about this in my videos before. When it comes to thrift stores, when things are priced high, I don't get discouraged by that. I use that as a signal that it probably has some value. It's almost like letting the thrift store do some research for you. So if I see a high price tag, it doesn't always mean that it's going to be worth it, but often it means, wow, this thing's probably worth a lot of money. They probably looked it up, and there might still be enough margin to make it worthwhile to buy for reselling. And that was definitely the case here. Definitely enough room for resale, because I made $113.22 in 4 hours on it. And so lots of people walking by this, and I'm glad they did because I was able to pick it up. All right, let's check out some of my worst sales of the week. If I just filter this net return in the reverse order, we'll see a couple of things. Oh yeah, so this Amazon Kindle, I bought this at an estate sale. They wanted $12 for it, and it was a risk. This thing already had an empty battery screen on it like this, but I figured at 12 bucks it would probably be worth it. So I got it home, plugged it in, and could not get this screen to go away. I did some troubleshooting measures, searched Google to see how to fix it, but they just were not working. So I sold it for parts for $19.99 free shipping. So I did not lose money, but I only made $1.06 on it. That's an ROI of 9%. I wouldn't really consider this a bad buy necessarily. It would have been a good buy if it worked, but sometimes luck is not on your side and the things that you buy don't end up working, and hopefully you can still sell them. I sell a lot of things for parts when that's the scenario, when they just don't end up working, and try to get back as much money as I possibly can. Let's see what else sold for a very small amount. Okay, yeah, so this Sony AV, this remote here, gosh, this was a really bad buy. You'll see it was from HiBid. It was an estate sale online auction. I just bought a whole table of remotes and electronic devices, but I bought it because there was a pair of binoculars that looked really good. And it turns out that the binoculars, the box that they were in was empty, which I thought was a really crappy thing for an estate sale company to do, to have an empty box of binoculars in an online auction showing, you're assuming that that's going to be in there. You're not just buying an empty box. But in this case, I paid something like $30 or $40 for the entire lot of things, and it ended up being an empty box. And I wasn't too happy about that, but I'm still scrounging my money back. That's why I only made $1.28 on this, because I have a cost of goods on this thing for $7.20. So of the sellable things that came from that lot, I had to price it up to make that money back. And so, this sold in 16 days, 18% ROI, one of the worst sales of the week, but at least I'm clawing some of that money back that I lost. So yeah, those were the 2 worst sales of the week. All right, let's wrap it up. That'll do it for this week. Thank you so much for watching. If you like these videos, I do them every week, so make sure and hit that subscribe button. If you can't wait until next week, you can check out last week's video here or the week prior here. And thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next week.